Hello, this is Daniel Mart, and today I'm going to be doing another episode review or episodes review. Yeah, I normally do these when I don't have time to review every episode, per episode, do one video per episode. I just get a bunch of episodes, combine them together, and make a straight up review for every single episode that I am missing, quote unquote. So I've done this for The Flash, Walking Dead, Arrow. This time around is going to be for Z Nation, basically the second half of Z Nation. So yeah, season 3 premieres in a couple of days now. This Friday, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, and I just realized I haven't really caught up yet. So here we go, and then I need to catch up with Gotham because that starts on the next Monday. So yeah, so basically I'm going to be doing a review for episodes season 2, episode 7 to season 2, episode 15. So that means episodes 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 of season 2. And just to be more specific, episode 7, Down in Mississippi. Episode 8, The Collector. Episode 9, Roswell. Episode 10, We Were Nowhere Near the Grand Canyon. Episode 11, Corporate Retreat. Episode 12, Party with the Zeros. Episode 13, Adios Muchachos. Episode 14, Day 1. And episode 15, All Good Things Must Come to an End. So yeah, and before I actually get into the reviews, if my voice sounds a bit funny, it's because I am sick. So sorry, and I am sniffling and whatnot, so sorry about that in advance, but it is what it is. So yeah. Before I begin, though, 10-second spoiler warning as usual for those who have yet to actually watch these episodes and haven't already. For those who have yet to actually catch up towards the end of season 2, who haven't caught up till the end of season 2 yet, I need to catch up. Don't watch this. So yeah, as usual, 10-second spoiler warning starting now. Okay, so 10 seconds are up. So if you haven't caught up to the season up until the season 2 finale, for those who haven't caught up, please don't comment down below or be messaging me that I never gave you a fair warning, because as usual, I did. So as usual, quick synopsis for every single episode. Likes and dislikes. Normally it's very general. The likes and dislikes are very general. And then the rate for every single episode. So I'll probably give the likes and dislikes towards the end, because those for the most part are very general. And they're normally the same per episode within a series. So yeah. Episode 7, Down in Mississippi, you basically have 10K, and he meets up with these two characters that we met all the way back in the season 1 premiere, back in the first episode. And they kind of meet up again. 10K meets up with this group. Our main group kind of meets up with these two guys that we've known since the season 1 premiere. And basically they get caught up in this one town called Brownstown, I believe, or Brownsboro, or something like that. And basically they are accused of committing a crime. So 10K and these two other men, Sketchy and Skeezy, are put on trial and are sentenced to death by a Scorpio, who is basically the main antagonist throughout the whole second season, zombies aside. And he's put to death by a Scorpio, but at the very end, all three of them get saved, and it ends with kind of a Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid feeling, with Skeezy and Sketchy kind of coming out of this kind of car, guns ablazing towards the zombies. So it was pretty cool in my opinion. Pretty cool nod towards Butch Cassidy. And yeah, this episode I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Episode 8, The Collector. Basically, you just have Murphy encounters this guy who's a collector. He collects different types of zombies. Some zombies that we have seen throughout the series, such as the Phyto zombie, which is the plant zombie, and the Blaster, which is that zombie that can explode, and the radioactive zombie. So yeah, and he has a zombie museum essentially, and basically he wants Murphy. But for a different reason. Basically, when he opens up his zombie museum, he wants Murphy to be like the grand prize and whatnot. So yeah, eventually that guy does die towards the end. 10K gets captured by him, and then they both escape, whatever, and then they're back with the group. Pretty decent episode. Guy was pretty weird. He kind of reminded me of TJ Miller for some reason. I thought he was TJ Miller, but I searched him up and it wasn't TJ Miller. It was one of those things he looks like it, but I doubt it was. But yeah, overall, pretty good episode. 7 out of 10 for The Collector. Episode 9, Roswell. Basically aliens. Aliens in the zombie apocalypse. You have these aliens, and it turns out that the alien is actually this guy from the government, which we do kind of find out a bit more about it in the season finale. But basically, a smaller community believes that there's aliens that are going to save them. Turns out that's a lie, and there are no aliens. And we get our first mention of Zona, which is basically this place where all the 1% basically live at, and it's basically Hawaii. or it's nearby Hawaii. So yeah, it's basically where the 1% are surviving. Okay episode in my opinion. It was okay, but didn't really care for it. Aliens just, I mean, I know this show is crazy with with zombie tornadoes and tsunamis and like just and hordes of zombies are like miles and miles long, whatever. But for some reason, aliens and zombies just don't mix. So yeah, it was still a good episode. So 6.5 out of 10. So yeah, episode 10. We were nowhere near the Grand Canyon. In this episode, the group meets up with these with this Native American tribe, and this tribe is kind of split into two. One of them is led by the father, the other part is led by the son, and the father and his group are stationed at their casino, which is pretty funny because if you guys don't know, Native Americans, the way they make their money is through gambling and casinos because it's on their reservations or the reserves or whatever. Besides the point, so dad, the Native American dad, he and his group are in the casino, and his son is in this tribal lands, basically in the forest, close to the Grand Canyon, and that's where his group is. And basically, since there's a split, because he does have sisters, so the sisters are kind of try to reconnect. And same thing with the main group. They're like, hey, try to reconnect. The son's group takes 10K and Doc hostage, whereas the father kind of welcomes our survivors. And yeah, basically at the end, there's basically this humongous zombie horde. And they take down the casino. It's like a hotel and casino type of thing. They completely demolish it. Basically, like it goes down to the ground. And basically, what they end up doing is kind of hurting this whole zombie. And it's a humongous zombie horde. But they end up putting them in the Grand Canyon. Like they end up, making them fall down the Grand Canyon, which is pretty funny. You also have Murphy, who's like, no, don't send them to the Grand Canyon. They're gonna die. Because we all know Murphy likes zombies. He feels more connected to zombies than humans. So that was kind of funny at the same time. But yeah, overall, still pretty good episodes. 7 out of 10. Episode 11, Corporate Retreat. Probably one of the weaker episodes within the whole series. Basically, it's kind of a mystery sort of thing. Murphy gets shot. The group comes across the hotel, and in this hotel, there's this group of survivors. Before the apocalypse, they were in this corporate retreat. They were, in the seminar, and then the apocalypse happened. Some of them tried to escape. Now we just have a small group of survivors there, and whatever. And Murphy, in trying to find food, gets shot. And it's basically a mystery who shot Murphy and why did they shoot him. And yeah, but it was just okay. It was a decent mystery, but it was one of those things that you kind of knew who the culprit was from the beginning, kind of thing. Or you have to watch it in order to explain because you don't really know who the culprit is, but in the sense you don't exactly know who the culprit is, but since it's such a large amount of people who are the culprits, so to speak, you kind of know where it's going. So it was okay. Nothing special. 6 out of 10. Whatever. Episode 12, Party with the Zeros. Basically, the Zeros are a Scorpio or Scorpions. Scorpio's gang, which is the guy back from episode 7, and just the main antagonist throughout the whole season. And basically, they're in the border at the Mexican border. Our group is at the Mexican border. This guy, he helps rescue our survivors, and now they are with the Zeros, which is like a drug group, and they're just trying to survive. They're trying to get, this drug group cartel. They want the Murphy so they could create a cure. They have the doctor. I forget what the doctor's name is. It starts with a K. Kieran, something like that. Kieran. It's not Kieran. No, that's from Screen. It's like something close to that, but Kieran, let's go with it. Dr. Kieran. He wants to escape these people. He wants to basically betray them. So him and Murphy kind of come up with this plan. Hey, let's not exactly make a vaccine. Let's make a vaccine, and I get to control everybody at the end. And the doctor kind of gets screwed over at the end. And then, so yeah, that was pretty good. You also have Vasquez, who tries to shoot a Scorpio because it turns out that Scorpio killed his family before the apocalypse. Right before the apocalypse. So, yeah, overall, pretty good episode. Pretty good. Just kind of interesting to see this kind of drug cartel in the apocalypse. I mean, we've seen that. I mean, this came out first, granted, but stuff like Fear the Walking Dead have done it better. But whatever. Overall, pretty good in my opinion. 7 out of 10 for this episode. And then Adios Muchachos, episode 13, is kind of like a follow up to that episode. To episode 12, and they don't typically do like these long running story arcs. Normally the story arc is like one episode, so it is pretty refreshing to see a 2 episode story arc, and which it kind of continues because here in the first part we see kind of the creation of the cure. It's like the creation and whatnot, and how our survivors are greeted and accepted by this gang, the cartel. Whereas part 2, which is Adios Amigos, is where they're trying to escape the cartel, and how we see how demented, I suppose, will be the word. How demented Murphy is when it comes to trying to control humans. That he's been in kind of like Cassandra, only like in the bigger, wider scale. So yeah, overall pretty good in my opinion. I think it's slightly better than episode 12, and I'll give that one 7.5. So that was episode 13, and I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. Episode 14, season 2, 14. Day 1, probably the best episode in the whole season, and definitely one of the best episodes in the whole series, in my opinion. And basically, it's called this one's Day 1, and basically we see what everybody was doing on the day that zombie apocalypse happened. And I just found that to be really cool. I just found that to be really cool. What everybody was doing at the start of the zombie apocalypse. So we start off with Citizen Z, who's up in Antarctica or down in the North Pole, whatever. And throughout the season, he's just trying to contact our group of survivors. But here he actually gets a slightly bigger part. And it turns out he was basically in like a Snowden situation. He kind of leaked a bunch of government info. And this one government agent said, with the CSI, I believe, or CIA, said, "Hey, we like what you do. Can you go down to Northern Lights and basically do the same thing? You won't be prosecuted for what you did, and you'll be basically pardoned or whatever." So Citizen Z kind of takes up the offer. So there's that. Roberta. Let's see. Roberta was she's a lieutenant, but she was basically at her army base when the zombie apocalypse happened. That was pretty cool. We see her kill a few of her former comrades, I suppose, or some former soldiers that she used to work for. So that was pretty cool. Doc was a psychiatrist of all things, and yeah, he was basically before the zombie apocalypse he was sober. Like he didn't do drugs. He was sober for 5 years basically, but the second the zombie apocalypse happens, he was like, "Fuck this." He takes drugs, so yeah, why not? But he looked pretty cool as a psychiatrist. Like the hierarchy ward was pretty cool to see him in. 10K, he was out fishing in the forest, and then all of a sudden the zombie apocalypse happens. He's trying to run away, and his dad, who's also a survivalist just like him, rescues him, and it's just him and his dad at that point. We do know that eventually his dad does die. So there's that. Addie, we get the return of Mac, which I fucking hate. Mac is one of the worst fucking characters in like fucking TV history. He is such a bland piece of fucking shit. And that Inception episode where they tried to give him character development would have been great had it not been a fucking Inception episode. Okay, that's one of the worst episodes ever. Fuck me. But besides the point. So yeah, but Mac actually had some pretty good, decent action scenes. He was a hockey player, and Addie was just like a viewer. Like there was a hockey game going on, and Mac was in the rink. And when the zombie apocalypse happened, Addie was just a spectator, and they both kind of run into each other, and they're like, "Hey, we should survive together." Well, Mac's like, "Hey, we should survive together," and Addie's like, "Yeah, why not? I'm Addie. I'm Mac. Let's go." So, but it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool in my opinion, and yeah. So I said 10K. Roberta. Murphy, he was in prison basically. He was gambling away cigarettes, and what the guards come in and they leave the gate open, so that basically lets him escape prison, so to speak. So he escapes prison, but eventually it seems like he does get recaptured because then he's tested on, and that's where and now we know our current day Murphy. And I believe that's everyone at. See, did I miss anybody? Citizen Z, Roberta, 10K, Doc, Addie with Mac, and what's the other one? Murphy. So yeah, I said everybody. Overall, pretty cool in my opinion. You do get some extra info, of what's going on throughout the apocalypse at that point in present day. So that's pretty cool. They said they were currently crossing Disneyland, like in the present day. So that was pretty funny. So yeah, overall, pretty good episode. One of my favorite episodes of the show. So series. So I'll give this one a 9 out of 10. I just like seeing like the origin story, so to speak, and I do like how they didn't really stretch it out. Which was like maybe a 7-minute section per character, so that was pretty cool. And then episode 15, all good things must come to an end. Murphy finally gets to the CDC, or whatever's left of the CDC, and he gets picked up by the doctor that experimented on him all the way back at the start of the zombie apocalypse. 10K goes with him because he got shot up during a shootout. And yeah, you also have La Reina, who appeared back in Party with the Zeros and Adios Muchachos. La Reina, which is part of his Scorpios gang, which is part of the Zeros, her group comes and attacks everyone. And at this point, you thought they were dead because of the events of Adios Muchachos, but it turns out nobody died. Surprisingly, like almost nobody died in that ordeal. Not even Scorpio. Like his death should have come, but apparently he's still alive. He ends up killing La Reina, which I found it to be really cool. But first off, I felt like the way they killed her, like it was pretty cool. But first off, it's one of those things. I don't think it should have been a Scorpio who should have killed her. I felt like it would have been more sense if it was Addie, because it was La Reina contra. Wow, that came out wrong. It was La Reina versus Roberto. So Addie always has her back. So I thought that would have made more sense. But Scorpio, you have to bring him back somehow into the mix. Which even after that doesn't even make sense. But whatever, it's Z Nation, so fuck it. So yeah, but besides the point, at the end of the episode is fucking random. So Vasquez leaves the group, Scorpio joins the group. So now you have Scorpio, Roberto, Addie, and Doc. Okay, you have Murphy coming back into the mainland with a couple soldiers and the doctor and the captain of the submarine he was in. And 10K is nowhere to be found, and they're surrounded. And the group on land is surrounded by like the Russian or Chinese military, and then you get a really random scene with what's his face, Murphy's baby. If you guys remember, Murphy had a baby, and it seems like she's like a preschooler at this point. Like within a couple months, she like grew up really fucking fast. So now she's like a preschooler. She's like 5 or 6, or she looks 5 or 6 years old. And that was a really random. Like if you want to make a list of top 10 most random scenes, like that's a really I have no idea why they show that scene. I was really confused. Who knows? Maybe they'll explain that in the season 3 premiere or whatever. But yeah, overall, still a pretty good episode, and I'll give that one an 8 out of 10. And yeah, it's basically my review for every single for all the remaining. Wow, that's basically my review for every single remaining episode of Z Nation up until now, until current date before the season 3 premiere. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. Overall, it is a fun series, and I can't wait for season 3. Who knows? I'm surprised they got a season 3. I'm surprised they got a season 2 as it is, but who knows? Whatever. And yeah, it's basically it for now. I mean, as far as Lex and Dislikes go, again, it's too cheesy for its own good, but at the same time, that's one of its charms. Overall, it is fun. It's just supposed to be like some dumb popcorn entertainment. It's made by the same company who makes the Sharknado movie, so it's not gonna be that good. At the same time, it's not gonna be that. Well, I can't really say it's not gonna be that bad, but it's gonna be like cheesy fun. Okay, like so. Yeah, overall, still a pretty good show in my opinion, and yeah, overall, still a pretty good show. So yeah, the season 2 review should be up soon as well, and then we'll have the season 3 premiere. And yeah, that's our premieres because it's a double premiere, the first 2 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, that's basically it for now. So subscribe, comment down below, like the video, share on Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, or whatever you prefer. And that's basically it for now. This is Daniel Mart signing off.